Yes, and we're back with this amazing soul. This man is doing it right. Can you believe being a bodybuilder can be done without steroids? No, seriously. Mr. Jean Laguerre, Mr. Natural USA, did it. As a matter of fact, he's got proof. He has a wonderful book, Jean Laguerre Sr., The Discipline of the Rep. Rep, R-E-P, meaning really expressed passion. Passion without the drugs. It can be found. Go online and support this man because he has revolutionarily shown you how to do it without steroids, without drugs. He literally gives you a blueprint for success. He shows you and gives you rep techniques and exercises that can take you where you want your body to be in its best form without the drugs. Support him. Thank you. So, I do want to continue the conversation because I think the focus with baby boomers is very important. You gave us some wonderful insights on what the focus should be health-wise, and that's to protect the heart. That is the most vital organ in our human system, skeletal system, and our muscle system. So thank you for that because we tend to forget that. We tend to forget that. But having said that, I can tell you as a woman, for me, it's my stomach and my waist. And I know a lot of us are concerned about that, especially those of us of a certain age. Yes, the baby boomer age. Everything just goes to pot and it settles in the middle of the pot, literally in the middle. What would you say to a woman who can't get rid of that middle? What do you think is a possible antidote? I should say she can't get rid of it on her own. Do you have any solutions?
Absolutely. Once again, it's understanding, what perpetuates that. First of all, most people don't understand that muscle occupies space in the body. The more area that our body occupies muscle, the less room there is for fat to accumulate. So when we begin to lose muscle, that area of the body creates a vacancy. So, and then understanding the nutritional game. A lot of times we tend to overindulge in carbohydrates, foods such as, sweets and rice and pasta and bread and all of these high starchy foods. And we don't understand that this is a nutrient when it comes into the body, it has to be utilized. Anytime it's excessive, the body will store it. And if there's not enough activity to utilize it for energy, the body will convert it into fat. So
Say that one more time. What converts into fat?
carbohydrates when it's excessive.
Carbohydrates. Sure to me.
So once you understand what you're doing, then now it's your responsibility to make some changes.
Yes.
Because I tell people all the time, when we were younger, we had so much activity in the course of our life, and now our job becomes our activity. And most people go to work and they sit for hours.
Hours on end.
Right, and you're not moving.
Not physical.
So movement is what causes the body to utilize calories and energy and deplete itself.
Right.
But the less we move, the less the utilization of those calories is affected. So now what you choose to put in your mouth, you have to be conscious of it.
Yes.
Because if the body didn't move enough to burn hundreds of calories, and then you keep putting them back in the form of high carbohydrate content, you're constantly putting in more than what you're utilizing.
Exactly.
So it's a definite recipe for your body to gain weight and to store fat.
Right.
So you got to wake up. Again, like I said, if you work on exercising your core and keeping muscle in those areas such as your midsection by doing movements that strengthen the core and build muscle around it, then the fat won't accumulate. If you do exercises that affect strength and musculature of the body, those movements burn a lot of calories. Let's say somebody did 20 push-ups. 20 push-ups, believe it or not, activate a high degree of musculature in the body. You're talking about the muscles in the arms, the muscles in the core, and depending on how many reps you're doing and how the reps are being executed, it could burn a significant amount of calories because the muscles are under a lot of stress and contraction. So when you do movements, let's say like a squat, for example, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a loaded bar and like squat 100 pounds or 200 pounds and do 10 reps. You could squat with your body weight. Get in front of a chair and do maybe 15 to 20 reps of sitting and standing. The squat engages tons of muscles, the muscles in the lower body, the muscles in the core, the heart rate is stimulated. And by the time you do that for 20 reps, you could have burned a significant amount of calories, as well as strengthen the lower body and the core. And you didn't even step out of your house.
I love it. So these are really good ways of keeping your body active, even sitting at your desk.
Correct.
Not even going to the gym.
Nope.
Not having time to go to the gym.
Exactly.
You must keep your body active.
Right.
Intentionally.
Exactly.
Doing intentional exercises for the areas of the body that you need control over, correct?
Yeah.
And remembering that storage of carbs produces FAT.
Right.
That
That's
evil word. So the more carbs you consume, the more you need to stay active.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Correct.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I've heard over the years. When you are trying to bodybuild or weight lift, there is more protein that you're putting in your body and less carbs, or is it the opposite way?
The carbs are the energy source. The protein is the reparation and the building of the muscle tissue. So you kind of need a balance of both.
Okay.
Because your energy comes more from the carbs.
Okay.
But the muscles need the protein in order to rebuild, because every time you do strength training, you're breaking down muscle tissue. And for the muscle tissue to go through a cycle of regeneration and building and acquiring new muscle, you need a certain amount of protein to help the muscle to do that. So without adequate amount of protein, the muscle cannot build, it cannot grow. So it's a balance. But at the same time, the protein, whatever you consume, the body will take what it needs and it will excrete the rest, whereas the carbs go into storage.
Got it. Repeat that one more time. When you use your body uses the protein and it doesn't need all of it, it does what?
It excretes it.
It excretes it, so it leaves.
Correct.
So we're not really worried about protein
No.
consumption. We're concerned about
The
carb
carbohydrate.
consumption.
Right.
Because when we don't, when we're not, when the breakdown of the carbs doesn't happen, it does what again?
Storage.
And that produces
Fat.
There you go. That's it. Simple remedy.
So we just have to be aware. And like I said, you have to understand, we need to move. You know, as life evolves and changes, we're moving less.
Yes.
And we have to understand that movement is important. Activity is important. And it has to become habitual. I don't care if you work out for 15 minutes to 30 minutes, 3-4 times a week, but you must move. Because the lazier the body becomes, the more deterioration that occurs to the body. And before you know it, you could be 34 years old, 30 to 40, and feel like somebody's 70 to 80.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Or
So-
resembling someone.
Right.
Health-wise.
Right.
On
And-
the inside.
And the thing that I speak to seniors about is that as they leave the workforce and they go into what we call retirement, you're taking a job that you spend an average of 8 to 12 hours, and then a commute that could be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours per day, which results in activity. So now you go into retirement, what are you replacing that activity with?
Exactly.
So now what happens to the body when all this activity is drastically diminished? How does the body survive when it's adapting to such a low scale of activity compared to what it was accustomed to?
Compared to what your body was accustomed to. So
Exactly.
basically, it's its own machine.
Correct.
But your mind has to tell it what to do, activate it to stay healthy.
Yeah,
And that's very real. It does
very.
not work the other way around. I tell people this. I said the body really controls, the mind controls the body. We tend to not get that. Am I right? Oh, my body. No, you tell your body what to do.
So, in all honesty, I say that the two are one and separate at the same time.
Okay, break that down, please.
To break that down, our body is it's connecting with us at all times. Let's say, like, for example, when you're thirsty, you know, your throat gets dry and all of a sudden you feel this dehydration and you say, oh, I need to drink some water,
Right.
or I need a beverage. And then when you're hungry, your stomach growls and you're like, oh man, I really need to eat. Like my stomach is like
That's
growling. So this is the body connecting with the mind in case the mind is preoccupied and it's not processing what the body's needs are, and the body sends a message that says that I have thirst or I have hunger. Same way when we're exhausted, the body says, I'm exhausted, I need rest, I need sleep. But sometimes the brain is preoccupied in a way where it says, look, I'm too busy right now, you just gotta hang in there.
You're
I
secondary.
can't accommodate you, so just do the best you can, you know, for the next couple of
Real
hours
talk.
until I can get around to you. So there's always a communication coming from the body to the mind, as well as sometimes the mind addresses certain needs to the body. So it's really a balance of the two,
A balance.
you know, but most of us are disconnected with our bodies in a way where we assume that our body's like a car and we just get in it and we tell it what to do and we expect it to do it.
Ah, say that again.
The body
That's
is
powerful.
right. The body's not a vehicle.
Okay,
It's its
now.
own separate machine, and it's a relationship that you're trying to
Yes.
acquire between the mind and the body. I tell people all the time, when I train, I could have a workout in my mind, but at the same time, my body has to be in agreement with me.
Powerful. Your body has to be in agreement with the program that you've set.
Absolutely.
And if it is not, what happens, sir?
If it's not, then it becomes a destructive moment.
There you go.
It could lead to injury, or you know, it could be something harmful. So a lot of times when I'm going to train, I say to my body, this is what I would like to do today. Are we in agreement? Does this suit you? Or do you have a different need that needs to be addressed?
Powerful.
Right.
You literally have a conversation with your body like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Told you, go Nuggets, go Nuggets. So this gentleman who's been, what, powerlifting and bodybuilding for how many years?
Well, me, bodybuilding, but
Bodybuilding,
right, for 45 years.
45 years, and you still ask your body permission to do
Absolutely.
the day-to-day, regimented program that you set, and or add-ons, you know, because I'm sure you
I'm gonna share an even more powerful nugget, which I've been using a lot.
please.
And one of the things that I say is most individuals, when it comes to their body, they are operating on outdated software.
Okay.
Because when you think, you know, this age of technology that we live in, every piece of software that relates to technology goes through an update.
That's right.
So that means the old software is outdated and now the new software has replaced it. But when it comes to our body is constantly going through updates,
Ooh,
but
powerful.
we don't realize it. So we keep thinking of how the body was 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago,
powerful.
and the software has changed numerous amount of times, but we refuse to update it. So we're operating on a software that's no longer relevant to where the body is currently. And that's what creates this confusion in how to accommodate the body and how to connect with it.
Oh my gosh, that's powerful. I'm like jumping. I'm chair jumping. Okay, wait a minute. Outdated software means that we have not caught up with what's going on physically with our bodies. We're
Correct.
still living in 1942, and we are here 2024 in our heads. Correct?
Absolutely.
So when there's a disconnect, obviously there could possibly be injury or just not getting the best source of what your body needs, what your own regimen, correct?
It's potential injury, sickness, disease, and deterioration.
Whew. That's amazing. So let's break this down. Let's look at the diet because I think we're on to something really, really major here. I'm a 25-year-old. I can eat ding dongs. I'm talking about myself. I can eat yoo-hoos. I can drink yoo-hoos. I can do all of that. Now I'm in my 60s and I'm consuming that same diet. Deadly, correct?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Deadly.
Perfect example. If, the first 5 years I trained for 4.5 hours, 6 days a week, and I averaged about 25 sets per body part. Right now, 45 years into the sport, into my health and my fitness, my workouts could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and the amount of sets that I do is probably somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 8.
Okay, wow.
And the key things that I must do now is understand my body's recovery cycle. And then at the same time, how you do an exercise must also evolve. Because when you learn how to do an exercise, you don't do it very efficiently. And most people think however you do it, it doesn't have a grade. It does have a grade. Just like when you go to school, you could take an exam, you can get a 65, or you could be that honor roll student that averages a 95 to 100.
There you go.
So when you first learn how to do an exercise, you're not doing it well.
There you go.
You're just doing it the best you can, and maybe that grade is between a 60 and 65.
Wow.
But that grade is not very efficient. So
Right.
to compensate for the lack of efficiency, you add volume to it. But as you're older, the body cannot execute that level of volume. So now that grade can't sit at a 65. That grade must be in the 90s because the body doesn't have the same recovery capacity or energy capacity to train in the way that it used to, but it could still receive high value if we become more efficient and more connected to our body.
I love it. I love it. Becoming more efficient and connected to our bodies
Right.
means that we must be able to pivot and receive what's changing in our bodies and adapt to those changes.
You ready for one more powerful nugget?
Yes, but I need to have a disclaimer. I am not saying if you drink yoo-hoo and eat that you're going to die. I want to make that clear. I don't want anybody coming after me. I was just saying high sugared, calorie foods you cannot consume when you are of a certain age without having more of an active life because it sits and sedimentary sits into your body, correct?
Correct.
And can cause more harm than good than when you were younger. That's all I was trying to say.
Exactly. And the next thing that I'm going to share is that concentration and the connection between the mind and the body is something that can constantly continue to grow and to evolve. But most of the times, whatever we do and whatever way we do it, we don't improve it. We just kind of let it sit where it was, not knowing that there's another level we never got to. Perfect example. For more than 30 years when I trained, I could not really have a workout without music in the background. The music was a form of motivation and just, it aided my concentration. But in the last 10, 15 years, I do not play music at all when I'm training.
Interesting.
And what happened is that there's a point where the mind and the body develop a more intimate connection. And through that connection, you become more absorbed in terms of what you're doing and how it feels to your body. In other words, the sound of my breath, the focus on what the muscles that I'm working on and how many muscles are interactive in the exercise that I'm doing, and are all the muscles working in a cohesive manner to execute the movement to the highest order that I can receive the highest benefit. So in other words, The best way I could break it down, when I'm training now, I no longer hear the silence because I'm so internal with my body that I don't hear that there's no music playing because I'm so deep within myself that the entire moment I'm feeling my body from within and listening to my body and knowing, am I serving my body in the highest order?
Awesome. That's awesome. Again, golden nuggets to live, learn, and adapt to and embrace. I am so excited that you've been here with us today. I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule. This man is still training others. He is still empowering others in a very physical way. And before we leave here, I want you to just tell our audience a little bit about this gentleman you talked to me about. Very special man who came to you, who was battling with being extremely overweight,
Yes.
and how your modalities, how your inspiration and your empowerment through coaching, because he's also a life coach. Clearly, you can see that, and a body coach. How did you transform this man's life?
Well, I had a connection with him because we actually went to the same high school together. But he went through some very heavy emotional trauma. His wife of more than 30 years of marriage with 3 children passed away from, I believe it was ovarian cancer. And I had also known his wife because I did some work with her. She was an assistant principal. And when he told me about her passing and I attended the service, you know, I remember when he came off of speaking about her, we had a very warm embrace. And I told him, I said, if you need me, I'm here for you. So months later, he contacted me and said, Gene, he said, I've been depressed. You know, I've been overeating, you know, using food as a comfort. I've gained a lot of weight. He was up to 357 pounds.
Ooh.
And Don is not more than maybe 5'8", 5'7", 5'8". And he started having severe heart condition. And, you know, I told him, I said, look, I said, I got you. So once he came, because we failed to realize that the emotional state that we feel affects our body.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, you ever experience some really good news and you're so happy your body just can't stand still and you just want to move, you want to jump, you want to run.
Absolutely.
You know, you're just full with energy. The same way, if you go through something that's really sad and depressing, you feel the opposite. You have no energy. You want to climb into a bed. You want to cry.
Yes.
You feel so weak that a pencil might feel like it's heavy.
Yeah, you're broken.
You know what I mean? And the body is affected by this emotional state.
Absolutely.
The same way when it's positive, the body's happy. So once he came to me and I started to let him know, like, we can get past this. You know, he made a commitment to his diet, to his cardio. And in addition to that, the training just helped to restore him. Now he's down 100 pounds.
Amazing.
He's been with me a couple of years now, and he went from 2 push-ups to doing 15 to 20 push-ups. He built a significant amount of strength with his lower body, his core, his upper body. The energy was so infectious that he actually met someone now who was a past relation before he had married his wife, and they're getting married in August.
That's
I'm
awesome.
the best man, and this man is just completely transformed.
That's amazing. Those types of testimonies are tremendous. They're inspirational, and I pray that you gain something from this conversation. If you didn't take one thing that you can now adapt into your life, then you would have done my audience a major service. I thank you for your time, Mr. Gene Laguerre. Can you tell our audience what your Facebook and you have an Instagram as well?
Yes.
What that is?
On Facebook, I have a group called Mr. Natural, helping men and women over 50 get fit, a holistic health coach. On Instagram, Mr. Natural USA Bodybuilding. On TikTok, Mr. Natural, and I do coaching, whether you live in New York City or Anywhere else, I can help you and design, customize a program for you and get you on a nutritional and training regimen and just transform your life. It doesn't matter how out of shape you are or, whatever you think that's not possible, I'm here to tell you it is possible.
That's amazing. And you have young clients,
Oh, yeah.
correct?
My youngest client right now is a college student who's 19 years old.
Love it.
And he's doing great. So I work with people of all ages. And
That's amazing.
for me, the younger people are the future. They have to be taught from our experiences. And whenever you have a gift, to me, what defines a gift is when you have something that you could share and impact the lives of others.
Absolutely.
If it's only for you, then it's not a gift.
There
So
you go.
sharing my gift means a lot to me.
That's amazing. And as a mentor, I know that we talked about this separately, folks, that he's extremely passionate about passing on his knowledge. And I thank you for being that mentor. I thank you for that. Can you give someone who might be interested in being mentored by you some information about how they can also reach out to you?
Yes, I'm also part of an organization called Young Men Strong, founded by Nigel Howard, and we work on empowering young men, particularly those that come from single-parent households. I'm a product of a single parent, youngest of 3. Mom raised us, she worked 2 jobs, and for me, not having a male figure in my life was challenging, but my mom was a very strict mom, but I was one of those that didn't want to turn the wrong path because I knew I wanted to be something more, and I wanted to one day, as a father, be able to be a better dad. And having 3 sons, 34, 32, and 25, now they're grown and they're all pursuing their own individual careers. I want to be that person to help others that are less fortunate, that may find value in having someone that can help, guide and inspire their children and their families, on doing things the right way, and knowing that no matter the adversity you face, you can accomplish big goals, and don't limit yourself by your circumstances or your condition. You just have to know that anything is possible if you're willing to want it and put the work in.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I treasure this opportunity to present this wonderful man. He is the real deal. He's living it, walking it, talking it, preaching it, and doing it all day long, and willing to help you do it as well. Thank you, and we'll see you soon next time on Beauty into Power with Dr. Cheryl Renee. We'd be excited to have you on as a guest. Think you have an innovative product, brand new items, maybe a tech idea, maybe a brand new project you want to promote? Well, guess what? There's room for you. Look below. Send an email to team@Beauty into Power Show. Looking forward to having you on.